Hello, we're very excited to be here as part of the Fashion Minority Alliance Digital Showcase, which will be taking place on the 23rd and 24th of October. My name is Sigmoni.
I'm V, or Vanessa.
And together we are the
Black Girl Knit Club.
Black Girl Knit Club, thanks V. We're very excited to be here as part of the Weekender. Obviously, the whole ethos of the Fashion Minority Alliance is to promote more diversity within fashion. And that very much sits in line with us as Black Girl Knit Club and our ambition to promote more diversity within knitwear and craft. As part of our talk, as part of the session, we're going to be taking you through a visual journey of our story and why we set up the club. And we're very excited also we'll be there on Saturday to answer any questions you may have about our presentation, about us within the kind of knitwear and fashion industry.
Yes, excited to be here.
Very excited to be here and business share.
So let's start this. Who is Black Girl Knit Club?
Who is Black Girl Knit Club? That's a very good question. Are you gonna share a screen or So as we mentioned, we are the Black Girl Knit Club, and this presentation is definitely going through our idea of craft, community, and confidence. So who are Black Girl Knit Club? So Vanessa and myself set up the Black Girl Knit Club, I think it was in January 2019, to promote more diversity within knitwear and craft, and also just to create a safe space for women that looked like us.
Yes, picking back off what you said, we basically just wanted to create a safe and inclusive space for Black women and people of colour to basically come together, encourage each other, share similar stories, unwind, gather, inspire each other, and also showcase their skills and also build their confidence. We really just wanted to, most importantly, develop their hand skills to create and learn something new. And my ethos is definitely to empower, encourage, and definitely embrace the new skills that you will develop as you are part of our community. We began in 2019, and this was on the back of the hashtag diversity, because this was to increase the visibility of people like us who look like us and build a community amongst us in the craft industry. And we just really wanted to create this space because there isn't any spaces like us. And we just wanted to welcome the idea of just building through craft. Yeah,
I was going to say, within our first ever workshop, we found that I think when we first started in February, we found that women, we kind of had this whole thing set up. We want to learn how to do all these different stitches, and we found that when women actually came to the session, they just wanted to knit amongst people that looked like them. And that came, like, we've got some images here from, I think this was from Black Girl Fest, and just kind of screenshots. But again, it was just about women that look like us wanted just to be in a space where they could knit, craft, and just share lots of different stories, etc.
Yes, I would love to obviously know more about the founders, us.
Yes.
Tell us your story.
Tell us your story. Should I start me or do you want to?
Yes, please.
So as I mentioned, my name is Sigmoni. It's weird, it's actually spelled with a C and a G, so like Sigmund Freud, but Sigmoni. And my journey into craft, so I did art A-level, and I then went on to do my foundation at St. Martin's at the time when it was at at Southampton Row in Holborn. I then went on to do my degree in textiles at CSM and ended up specializing in knitwear. I'd never knitted before. I'd done like bits of print, but never picked up a knitting needle. And then after I specialized, I then I interned with these two designers at the time called Cooperative Designs in Hackney, and learned a lot around hand knitting. I did a lot of stuff for like London Fashion Week at the time. I then went to go and work with the designer in Ghana, learning how to weave, but also incorporating bits of knitwear. I think that's when my love for knit and craft really started. I then started my own business for about a period of 2 or 3 years, and then went back to UAL and decided to lecture in textiles. So I actually do lecture in textiles at UAL and within knitwear and within textiles in critical practice. But I think that's where my love for craft and knitwear kind of really began. And I did find that even as a student, and Vanessa and I, we've had like multiple conversations. I was often only, I think I was only one of 3 Black students in my cohort. And for me, it was really important that I wanted, especially with the ethos with the club, that I always wanted to learn about designers from different backgrounds that had kind of different perspectives, etc. So that's definitely something that I try to bring more within the club, and kind of has always been my kind of like at the forefront of what I've wanted to promote. That's a bit about me.
Nice hearing about you. And with me, I wear many hats, but mostly I really call myself a creative entrepreneur. I started out in not the conventional route into fashion, but I started out as an architectural technician. My degree was architectural technology, and so that's basically learning how the building stands up, basically. So we would deal with architects, structural engineers, mechanical engineers, and somehow work together within the design realm and basically just stand the building up. So it was mainly construction, design management, and alongside that, parallel to that, while I was in Brighton University, I would just fall in love with fashion, basically. And that Brighton town is obviously a town that is very diverse. So being from London and going to another diverse city by the coast was amazing, because obviously just seeing how liberal everyone was with their fashion sense. So then I would go into like vintage stores, boutiques, and just basically wear what everyone else wasn't wearing. And then I'll just basically just handpick garments. I'll go to like warehouses, handpick garments, and then create like a collection. And Simone's modeled for me before, but I'll create a collection every quarter, and then I will shoot it. I'll be like the creative lead, creative director, stylists, and yeah, everything else to put a campaign together. So I would shoot that, and then I would just basically host it on my website, and I'll build a website as well, host it on my website, and then do the social strategy, the marketing, and everything behind that. And then, yeah, basically just sell quality garments. So garment care was basically at the forefront of what I was doing. And yeah, and just being sustainable about it, because obviously you handpick the garments, they're basically pre-loved from maybe the 70s, or it could just be from like someone else from yesterday, but they've taken care of it. So just taking a look into garment care as well. So I've always just loved working with my hands and just being specific and more intentional with fashion, basically.
I was going to say, do you think that has prepared you for kind of running the knit club, kind of, or because obviously we'd worked together, I'd kind of been your model. I remember you picking on your garments and together and creating collections, and how you've been able to take those transferable skills into the Black Girl Knit Club.
Yes, I definitely believe so. I think both of us has prepared us to be very like intentional, very like entrepreneurial, like with your own label that you did. And I remember visiting your markets and stuff in Spitalfields. Yeah. And so all of those skills that we've used throughout the years has definitely prepared us to now collaborate and come together and just create that gap, fill that gap, and basically make Black Girl Knit Club.
Yeah.
The next question would be, let me see.
What has been our highlight and favorite project? See, I can't see the slides anymore.
Yeah, because yeah.
Perfect. So I guess what have we done so far?
Yeah, what's been your highlight?
What's been a highlight of our program? I would say my highlight in terms of projects, I would definitely say Black Girl Fest. So we did Black Girl Fest. That would have been, I think it was February 2019. So Black Girl Fest is a program run by a lady called Nicole Krenzel. Pronounced me wrong, Vanessa?
Yeah, Krenzel.
Yeah, Krenzel, yeah. And it's a festival which we did at the Business Design Centre, and it kind of attracts different young Black businesses and entrepreneurs. And we had probably over like 2,000 or 1,000 people come in over that weekend. We had like mothers and their daughters, grandmothers and their aunts come to learn to knit for the first time. And it was great just to see like different generations knitting together, learning together, and kind of us building our community. It was really lovely to see. So I think I would say that's been my highlight. And also I would say us having our Stockton Liberty, our yarn, which we'll talk about later. I think for me that's been one of the biggest highlights, I think, of our journey so far, which you can see in the bottom right-hand corner. We have a Peacock of Ademe yarn. You can see that kind of style there. But I think those have been two of my What about you, V?
My highlight definitely has been our community. Basically, we had the Black Women in Craft series over, was it summer last year? So after lockdown, kind of in lockdown, we would highlight different Black makers, mainly women, who would have we would basically gain the spotlight onto their crafts, and it was just amazing to hear their story and where they've come from, specifically like students, graduates, and business makers. And as well as that, our takeover, which was for Black History Month, but it went past Black History Month. It was about 6 or 7 weeks. So that was also another highlight, because it was just great to see so many different makers, and the fact that our platform was used to obviously highlight different makers. It was just good to see. Another one would be the Oneness ident that we did for the BBC, which I think still goes on now. So it's nearly a year and a half, which they've been showing our faces on BBC. You probably have seen us just before Spelling Bee.
Yeah.
And yeah, that was just amazing to obviously be a part of with our community and our members. Yeah, I think that for me would be another highlight, and that definitely did gain us a lot of exposure.
A lot of them, and I think also with the idents as well, because they were seeing, I think it's like over 34 million people, and even just in creating that, and I think especially if we're talking about this idea of visibility. You know, I guess my other job is working in London, lecturing in London University, especially for my students to see this kind of representation on such a wide scale, and also where you can take you know, your passion for craft or design, and seeing that it can be, you know, you can be like, did I ever think I'll be like directing idents for the BBC? Did we ever think that? But using those skills to kind of they say, what's the saying, is when preparation meets opportunity and things come together. So I think kind of having that, and also giving our members, like we have Cherie here, one of our other members as well, Lois, the opportunity to also hone in their skills. It's kind of brought everything together in a great way. So that definitely has to be one of our biggest highlights, I think, of
definitely lead on to what you're saying about preparation meets opportunity. Like, even if you go back to the Liberty collection, which is exclusively stocked at Liberty London, I think we were prepared for that. We already wanted our collection to be like one of our own, to showcase like the cloth and to showcase the wax print and the print and what it means to us as a community, especially womanhood being at the forefront of it. And when they approached us, we were ready for it. So I think that is definitely like an encouragement that we've obviously gained over the year, and a bit that we've established Black Girl Knit Club.
No, exactly.
Yeah, which definitely leads us on to our collection. If you'd like to introduce it, Simone.
So this, I actually have the yarn board here to show you. This is a sample, or here's a kind of sample here. This is a Peacock of Ademe yarn.
You show it again, sorry.
Okay, here we go. It's the Peacock of Ademe yarn. Watch. And so this is our upcycled wax print cloth yarn. And the Peacock of Ademe is actually inspired by, so it's a kind of representation of a new awakening. And it's actually, Ademe is actually a vegetable from the south of Togo, and it's actually passed down through different mothers, etc. So for us, it kind of represented generations of females within the family, and the idea of how when you are crafting or making something, you can pass it down through generations. And this is kind of like what the cloth represented for us. And as you can see, like Vanessa had mentioned, before we'd actually even launched the yarn, we already had prepared a shoot, because we are kind of thinking about the fact that even though there's traditional yarns made of like, you know, wool or, you know, silk and Lurex, for both of us, we're both of Ghanaian heritage, but British born. And a lot of the Black Girl Knit Club is also about us kind of including our heritage and, you know, where we're from. And our first collection, which was our first cloth, which was actually a cloth that my grandmother had passed down to me and that we had used as part of our first collection. Again, it's kind of reminiscent of our cultural background. So we also definitely wanted to include that. So our Nsuba cloth was part of our first collection. So again, all of the cloths have different kind of symbolisms, and that's also an important part of our story and of our journey. And there aren't many brands that are including that, but for us, it's really important that we have our heritage interweaved into the wider narratives. And with our shoot, like Vanessa mentioned, she's from a styling background, and with her original Bristol Branto studio, you kind of brought the vision to life, I think, for this. And I think that picture is probably my favorite picture of our model, Vanessa. What was your kind of thoughts behind that when you were putting that together in terms of the storyboard?
I think I already knew that I wanted fabric just to be flowing. Obviously that's one way that we could obviously enhance the story. So I just wanted to make sure that the fabric was kind of connecting to the story. So obviously, and the print actually does mean like connection, passed through generation to generation, and strengths. I just wanted to make sure that was showcased. Having like the different hues of oranges and greens and browns, just to complement our skin tone, as well as the styling perspective of it as well. But yeah, I just wanted to make sure that the model and the way that she was styled, and obviously the print would pop out more against the backdrop as well. So I think, yeah, preparing that was actually amazing, and being obviously the set designer for that, I already kind of had it in my mind that I just wanted it to be, I don't know, just wanted it to flow, and just wanted you to, as someone to view like the editorial, just to connect. And yeah, this collection is unique, and it does represent our ethos of sisterhood and unity. So I just wanted all of those elements to be represented.
Yeah, I just want to add one more thing onto that. Also, it is the idea of, when you're talking about our story, this idea of storytelling is something that I'm always talking about, storytelling. You know, what is your brand? What is your story? What's your narrative? And I think there's many probably students and industry people that are looking at this. And again, if you are kind of new to an industry, your story is powerful. And if you can put your story into your brand, that can only magnify it as well. So I think just think about what your story is and how you are, how you're telling that story.
Yeah, definitely.
What
motivates you or gives you confidence? I think this will be great answer for the audience.
Yeah, so what motivates you? I'd say what motivates me, I think it's showing up every day. You know, showing up and being your best self, you know, whether it is, you know, being Simone the co-founder, or being Simone the lecturer, or being, I don't know, Simone the daughter, the sister. I think showing up every day, thinking really positively about yourself, and being trying to think about what purpose are you serving. You know, we've all got, you know, different talents or different skills, but how are you serving that? What is your purpose? And I think that motivates me to be my best in every single way. If I think about what gives me confidence, I would say, especially with the Black Girl Knit Club, I think not wanting to fail our community. I think about all the different things that we've done, whether it's been like Black Girl Fest, or we did Black Girls Camping recently this summer. We think about the young girls, and you know, it sounds quite cliche, but I think as myself as a younger girl, and wanting to have that role model to look up to, I feel like I don't want to let our community down, and that pushes me to want to do more. and to want to give more and to want to do better. Because even I think about quite recently, we had an MA student who was looking for, her thesis was around Black women in mental health and craft, and she wanted a group to use. And we said, okay, of course you can use Black Girl Knit Club. And she was able to, you know, use our group to run a workshop and as part of her thesis. And she sent it to us recently. We were saying that it was great that we were able to give her that opportunity to use our club as part of her work and as part of her, you know, that's going to really enhance her career and her research. And she got like a really amazing grade. So I think about the fact that, you know, wanting to serve our community is what motivates me. Yeah, I'll say that. What would you say, Lee?
Personally, and for Black Girl Knit Club, I think my motivation is using my hands, like whether it is obviously styling or interior styling or like a Black Girl Knit Club workshop. I always make sure that I'm like in the creative zone. I'm always trying to motivate myself, doing something or just trying to make sure that it works out. And so that kind of motivates me. Also it's rewarding to seeing obviously that's the end product from using my hands and it come to life. I think seeing it from concept to like execution, I think that part, the reward, is definitely the motivation. In terms of confidence, I think positive thinking for me, knowing that I know that I can achieve things if I could just put my mind to it. Obviously having a support, family support, friend support, spousal support, all of those kind of support as well. I think that helps in achieving your goals, but also just being able to practice your skills and being able to execute your creative ideas and just staying in that zone, I think makes me confident and making sure that aids my mindset, making it strong every day. I think that definitely helps.
No, 100%.
Yeah.
Something to reflect on.
Yeah, definitely. We can now touch on the community aspects.
So how
obviously we won't be anything without our community.
100%. I think it's a question that we get asked a lot in terms of what's important about community. And I think for us, definitely in terms of, if you look at all the images on the screen, like we're nothing without kind of the, especially I think the bottom pictures of us from our first ever workshop. And the community support and even in lifting us up and seeing how a lot of them have been able to come together, learn new skills, build their confidence. That has been amazing. And I think, especially when it was during lockdown and we couldn't do any physical workshops, and we had an online session, online like dropping knit group, and we had a woman from Brazil, from Sweden, from Ghana, from Washington, that came together just to want to knit. And we realized that actually this has had a further outreach than just being the UK. It's been UK, it's been America, and that's been like larger than what we expected. And it's been a good way of kind of connecting people together. So I think that has also been majorly important. And those women were able to connect in different ways, and just, you know, increasing their opportunity and visibility. So that's also been amazing, I would say.
Yeah, I think community to our Black Girl Knit Club brand as a brand, I think it's obviously we need our subscribers. We've got over 600 subscribers who obviously tune into our updates and want to be part of our community and obviously want to know what's going on within the craft industry for people who look like them. I think providing workshops locally to obviously East London, we're East London based, I think that definitely does aid in our brand. And the fact that this skill building within our brand is definitely something that we highlight all the time. I think that is definitely important. Having it locally and having like the cultural references and the cultural backgrounds and empowering the community, I think online and in person, I think that is definitely important to our community.
Yeah. And I think also in that sense, having, like I mentioned in the summer, we did Black Girls camping, being able to also connect with other brands that align with our values, whether it's been like Viking or, you know, we've done stuff with other brands that we would never have expected to have collaborated with. Again, that has just been able to widen our network and meant that we have to do. And we did a collaboration with EA Sims, which is something that we never thought would ever do. And a
Yes,
range
EA
of
Games, yeah.
EA Games,
Yeah,
sorry,
yeah.
and a range of other things. So it means that we've we've had the opportunity to really widen our scope, and that's all just been through focusing on our community and also highlighting not to other Black women, also other women of other races that we also have to uplift each other. So that's also been
I think definitely like
important.
the wellness aspects, definitely from like lockdown till now, definitely has been like pushed in everyone's faces. But I think the fact that it is definitely important to obviously do away with your old routines and now obviously be in your own space, be in your zone to create something, I think that's definitely important.
No, 100%, definitely. I love these images as well.
All right.
What has been the challenges of running running a business, running a startup? That is a very big question. But I would say, there might be opportunity in that might be running their own business or thinking of collaborating. I'll definitely say managing your time management. I think obviously with our business, we both have, also have our other jobs as well. So, kind of time, thinking about also resources and funding. There's been lots of things that we've gone for funding for that we've got, that we haven't got. And, you have long applications. So that's also been a navigate. Thinking about budgets for things. We've had a lot of, especially when you're working with larger brands, like contracts that you may not be aware of, like looking at things like intellectual property, making sure you know what things are important for you as a small business. I think that's been something that we've both learned about, and also about your intellectual property and what things you're giving to businesses and contracts, and making sure you're very clear about things. I would also say, obviously, us were friends and we're co-founders, so it's also managing that that relationship of being friends, but also being, being professional and having things done. So I think that's been like, there's been lots of
definitely, I agree. I think time definitely is one of the things, because obviously we still work full time, and then we're obviously balancing projects and partnerships and obviously developing a business side, like doing business development work, website, graphics, social media, so many different things that we do. Thankful that we do wear many hats and stuff like that. But I think just obviously just balancing it all, I think that's definitely a challenge. But somehow we managed to do it.
Exactly.
We managed to fulfill orders for Liberty, and want to restock us again and again. So we're thankful for all of those opportunities. But also, like you mentioned, friends and as business partners, I think obviously just maintaining the business and maintaining the fact that we have to remain professional, and somehow that spearheads us into obviously working well together. And also, I think also a mindset, just having a mindset challenge all the time and always thinking bigger than what you have right now, like thinking what's the goal, and also thinking, okay, 5 years time, and then working backwards from that, like visualizing yourself or your business 5 years from now, and then just thinking, okay, what can I do to get there every day? So then working backwards from 5 years time, just scaling your business and making it better.
But there's also been, I think there's lots of amazing things about running a small business. I think definitely, maybe I can speak for both of us. For myself, I think I've done things over the past 3 years that I never thought that I would do. It forces you to think big, to think outside of your confidence. They always say that thing like, either do it scared or don't do it at all.
No, it's true.
Always things have come, like we've had our Liberty oil. I'm like, Vanessa, how are we going to fulfill this? How are we going to do this? Always managed to figure it out, and it has taught me to step out of your comfort zone. You know more than you think.
Exactly. And so I think the fact that we always try, like sometimes we're thinking, okay, we don't know until we try. So the fact that we do try it and we do see the results, and the results do aid us as business partners and the business as well, then I think, I think that's definitely great. Next question would be, what's next for Black Girl Knit Club?
Oh, what is next for Black Girl Knit Club? Well, I think we can actually mention it now. We have, so I think it was during lockdown, so we got approached by the publishers, Leaping Hair. So we have our first book. our Black Girl Knit Club Mindfulness and Craft book, coming out in around February, March next year, but it's available to pre-order via foils now. So get your book.
Yeah.
So that's been super exciting. That's been, I think, if you ever thought, you know, if we ever thought like 3 years ago that we'd be writing a book, you know, a book, I think I never would have thought that. So that's been really exciting. And then also we're thinking about our knit kits, having our own kits of how-tos of how to make particular things. That's another thing as well. I won't say too much, but what you can also add on to that as well, V.
Yeah, definitely what you said. Definitely want to expand more into the e-commerce side and producing our kits and like DIYs, as well as having like how-to content, like having more videos like YouTube and stuff like that. Subscribe to our YouTube, by the way. Yeah, just having projects and just making sure that our community are more engaged. I think that's definitely something that we want to just build on more and just focus more, definitely in 2022. As well as obviously maintain like brand partnerships and talks and stuff like this, like having digital, hopefully in person, like talks and workshops, definitely more workshops that we want to incorporate. And as well as that, we want to obviously still empower the next generation. So we definitely somehow want to create more learning content and create like a learning platform, collaborate with different maybe learning facilities or curriculums or something like craft related. And yeah, we definitely just want to highlight obviously our cultural significance in craft. There's so many different things, but I think it all relates together, and we know how to make it like all combined, basically.
Yeah, I was just going to add also doing stuff within Vanessa's recently just come back from Ghana, but we're also thinking in talks of possibly doing some more things within the continent as well. That's something we have quite a big following, like I mentioned, in the US. Workshops in the US, also within Ghana, and definitely, you know, more of our work. We've done a lot of work with Craft Council as well, which I haven't mentioned, but within schools, and also with, you know, with myself working in higher education, just having more, you know, more opportunities for young Black creatives and creatives in general, you know, bridging that gap. So yeah, those are exciting plans for 2022.
Yes,
and
we really are excited to try and execute all of these.
Yeah.
It's been a long time coming, and I think this is time to do it. Yeah. Just want to say a big thank you to the Fashion Minority Alliance for definitely being a part of, for allowing us to be a part of this talk and for this festival. Yes, please do follow us on our socials at Black Girl Knit Club and our website. And yeah, hopefully you can get in touch and hopefully come to our workshops.
Yes, and if you want to get some yarn as a plug, all available on the Liberty website in 2 different colorways.
Yes.
So definitely get knitting, great for the winter. So yeah, so thank you for having us, and we look forward to answering any questions that you may have also on Saturday. So we look forward to that as well.
Yeah.
Thank you
so much. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye. Bye.